Hi everyone, I'm Dennis Moynihan, and I'm with an organization called Vermont Works from Vermont. And Vermont Works is a social impact investment firm that's focused on making an impact in Vermont by helping people stay, attracting people to stay, all the issues you just laid out, and largely through helping small businesses launch, grow, and stay in Vermont. And to implement that, not only are we looking at how we find investment, but really looking at how place and space makes a difference. And one of the reasons I really am happy to be here today is that I am leading a feasibility study to reimagine the College of St. Joseph in Rutland as an innovation center. And that's been a 120-day effort, and the draft is done and dusted, and my fingertips are at my fingertips. And I think a lot of it is so relevant to what you've been talking about. So one of the things we've done is we've literally traveled, and looked all across the country. And you will find that places big and small, particularly mid-sized cities and rural America, are counting on innovation centers, places and spaces to transform, to make a difference in their local economy. And I've got enough slides for 45 minutes, but I'm going to try to grab just a couple cherries out of this to speak to. And then, of course, I'll leave some cards, and I'm happy to dive in. So we looked at over 60 centers from New Orleans and Jackson, Tennessee, and Akron, Ohio. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples. But the trick is two things. One, everybody is doing it. But two, as we said earlier, somebody said earlier, but it has to be unique to your own community. It has to resonate with the people and needs that you have. But this is a huge trend. I'm glad we brought up entrepreneurship. We just hosted Andy Stoll, who's the director of entrepreneurial ecosystems for the Kaufman Foundation. And his comment was that entrepreneurship is really the economic development of the 21st century. It's what places, and particularly rural America, small town America, can leverage, because we don't have the companies that come in, the GE Aviations anymore, that are going to hire 500 people. We've got to grow our own economy. And when you look at that, there are certain elements of a startup community, a startup ecosystem. And of course, it's what government can do, it's what businesses can do, it's what the local media does, it's what investors will come back to and higher ed can do. But almost all of them are doing something around place and space, incubation, acceleration, support for companies. One thing, if you haven't seen it, one of the takeaways, if you've never been introduced to Rise of the Vet, I strongly recommend you Google them, Google their YouTube videos. It is an investment fund set up by Steve Case and J.D. Vance and Jeff Bezos and Meg Whitman to look at investing across America. And not just in New York and San Francisco and Boston, but everywhere else. And that's a huge part of what we're doing. And they only went to places, they've traveled all America, but only went to places that had some space that was making a difference. There are several essential assets of an innovation hub, but if you do it right, you build it right, and you program it right, you really try to deliver three things that work together. Knowledge, that's education, that's workforce development, that's helping people. It's networking, because people have to meet each other, particularly when you're in a smaller community. You have to have a place where people can assemble and network. And I think one of the other key takeaways is unlocking investment is absolutely critical. Capital and investment for small companies is the rocket fuel. And if you don't have that, your startup ecosystem is going to sputter. And we are all public funders. We look at a grant here and that. But what we want to do is attract investment from outside to come and look at our great companies and help give them a serious investment. And so that's a huge part of what these centers can help do. I apologize, there's a couple little formatting things, don't worry about it. I didn't have time to change it. There's several elements to creating an integrated space. I can't go through all of them now, but I've just mentioned it's co-working space. But it's also the programming, the acceleration, the incubation, the training. It's event space. But a couple of things that are also innovative is co-living, something we're working on, where people can actually come and stay at the Innovation Center and housing, be part of those programs. And design space, maker spaces you've probably seen. They're very powerful, but a lot of the startups need a place to design, tinker, prototype, do some early fulfillment. So all those pieces come together. Now, I've got examples of all this, and I do not have time to go through them, so I'm going to tweak as I get to a couple things I want to show you at the end. But the two takeaways from all these beautiful pictures that slide through are, one, design means something. How it looks, how it works is really important. And two, there's an awful lot of examples around the nation and around the world. We're not alone in doing this. In fact, we're all playing catch up. And so, a typical center, this is a co-workspace. You see hot desks. You see dedicated desks. You see conference rooms, computer formatting. You see examples where these things are built out here in Vermont, over the border in Vermont, but also in New Orleans, in New York City, again in New York City, and you see they create a space that's like a public market. You feel like you've got cafes and a great place to mingle, great meeting spaces. So let me slide through, and really you could just oogle the pictures as they blow by. But you'll see event space, programming space, lots of different accelerators, and they don't just have to be your accelerators. These are a place where you can bring other partners in to deliver a whole range of programming. Maybe there's a program specially designed for women entrepreneurs. Maybe there's one for veterans who are trying to start a business. You don't have to create it all. You create a place where people can come and collaborate. Just again, I do have a lot of animation here, so just let me click away. Co-living is something that you probably aren't going to get into, but the idea is that people who are coming together to start a business, the startup team can live right at the center, and then they're far less interrupted. People who move to your area, who bring back, they have the trailing spouse issue, they can soft land in a place before they look for an apartment, and they've got the co-work center right there. They can take advantage of programs. It starts creating a synergy, and I think that's what we're trying to achieve. Let me just go through. So the design space, maker space, I'm sure you know a lot about it, but the physicality is, a lot of people, this is their first path into entrepreneurship. And again, I can show you more of these. So when you see all these things come together to make an innovation hub work: investment, incubation, inspiration, talent, mentors, networking. I've got two examples, and then I'm done because I can't go through it all. But just two we cherry picked that kind of were relevant to Rutland. One is the Bounce Center in Akron, Ohio. Now, Akron's bigger, but Akron's a post-industrial center. They took the old, I think it was the Goodrich building, and turned it into a very large, significant innovation center. And you can see it's got all the main elements. It's got, they've become a major venue for esports, which, has now suddenly become something. Who would have thought? And the thing I like about that is what the results have been. So let me just go through a couple of these things. And you'll see that they're generating independent headlines of the impact they're having. And the one I like the best is the new $20 million investment fund set up to launch in Akron. That's not the kind of place that you would think of an investment hotspot. You think of San Francisco, but it's because this comes together and it's bringing the people and the energy together that you're having that kind of a result. Then one that's more relevant to our physicality here in over in Rutland is a place called The Cove in Jackson, Tennessee. It's much smaller, 10,000 square feet. But they're in a rural setting, very much like Rutland is. You'll see that they're sort of in between Nashville and Memphis, I believe, and they have a very distributed population. And so that center there draws people from all around. And once again, they have many of the same pieces. They have community storytelling, much like your writer project that you're talking about. And they've had a great impact on their local community. You just see some of the headlines: computing, coding, which of course the jobs of the future are often, you see sort of a valley where you have high tech and you have high touch jobs, really the jobs of the 21st century. And so we know that if people can get coding skills here, they can get a job here, they can start a company here, but they can work for a company anywhere in the world. And that's one of the most exciting things for rural America is you can live where you like to ski, you can live where you know your neighbors, but you can work for a company in Singapore if you want, if you have this kind of skill. So that's all I wanted to cover. Again, I could do this, I get paid by the word, as you can tell, I could do this for hours. But I'm happy to follow up.